to everyone listening. This is Wild Boar. Joining me today is Ben and Bubba. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hey.
And we're going to be discussing E3 today, which was on last week. And just before I begin, I was just saying I had some news about... do you guys remember Violet Berlin?
Yes, I explicitly remember that.
Vaguely.
Yeah, she presented like loads of gaming stuff on Channel 3. Anyway, when I was younger, I had a different surname. I won't go into that now, but my surname used to be Bull, Sam Bull. And I was on a show.
Witness protection.
yeah. I witnessed a murder committed by my brother, and I had to go under prison.
It's gone dark.
Anyway, and I was on a kids show, and the game was, I think it was Striker for the SNES. I want to say SNES. And I won like 10 in a row or something like that. Anyway, I was talking to some guy about it, and I was like, look, I'll Google it. Googled it, and up came, and I was like, oh, look, Striker, that's the one I played. It's an episode that I was on. So there's a little 10-year-old me playing against some like 5-year-old, and I beat him like 100-0 or something ridiculous. And Violet Berlin was hosting it.
There's no way he was 5.
No, 7. I don't know.
But it did look like they dragged him, from his bed. He didn't look well.
No, he didn't look well. Jason, I think his name was. And anyway, I tweeted Violet Berlin.
You killed
Jason.
You killed Jason. That's why you changed your name.
Yeah,
Heartbroken.
All came back around. I think he killed himself, and that's
R.I.P.
why.
Oh.
Jace.
No, come on. Poor Jason. He got you should read the comments. He got a proper
Pasting.
Yeah. And anyway, Violet Berlin retweeted it and said, I've set it all up. I've put the word out. And I was like, oh, thanks, Violet.
What, for a rematch?
Yeah. So he actually retweeted it and said, oh yeah, I put the word out. And I was like, brilliant. Violet Berlin. And then I was like, how many followers must she have? 186 or something like that.
1,000?
No, 100. Like something like I've got more followers than her, I think, which isn't saying much. But yeah, I thought you'd like that. I just got that last night, and I was like, man, can't believe Violet Berlin is
The rematch.
out.
That'd be amazing.
You should watch it. If you watch it, Bubba, then you'll see who Violet Berlin is. I think you'll probably recognise her if you were into, watching.
You'll also see the smuggest child known to man.
Does he look smart?
Sam is the smuggest child. It's amazing. I think she says, what is it she says to you like halfway through the match when you're thrashing him to within an inch of his life with this football game? She says something like, have you got any advice for him? And you say something smart like, yeah, just be better, or just don't let the goals in.
Yeah, that was
merciless.
Yeah, it was merciless. What was funny is that I'd never played that game before that day. They give you 5 minutes or whatever to play it in the morning on the console, and I was like, oh, okay, here's the buttons, like as you did a bunch of stuff like kick, pass, whatever. It's pretty simple back then. And then that's it. And I suddenly sat down and started playing it like I was some demon at it, when actually I'd only played it for like a few minutes that morning. It's really weird. Strange. So anyway, yeah, I thought I'd
put a link in the description.
Yeah,
for all the non-listeners.
It's got like 10,000 views or something as well, which is a lot for something that's so
obscure. Yeah.
Yeah, really obscure. Anyway, you'll have to. Yeah, I'll put a link to it in case anyone wants to see it.
Just want to say R.I.P. Jace.
I've still got his head on my wall. It's fine.
Poor guy.
poor guy from Jersey. I think he was. He's probably still in Jersey. So yeah, let's move on. We'll move on to E3. So what were your guys' impressions first off? Did you think it was a good one? Do you think it's better than the ones like last year was pretty much full of
what you expected, really?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's suffering again because like last time they had all the consoles to talk about, and this year, they're showing a little bit more of games, but there's not many, or as not many as you'd hope, that are actually coming out this year. There's a lot of games that are coming out next year, and that's not exactly that encouraging. I mean, obviously the games are taking ages, and you'd rather they were good rather than being rushed out like certain big franchises all the time. But yeah, hey, lots of games for next year. Yeah, we'll see how they go.
I don't know. I just didn't think it was good enough personally. It's like I'm a tough crowd or something, but I don't know. I didn't think it was good enough. I thought like everything is 2015,
Yeah,
like everything's for next year. All the games that they announced that were coming out this year, we pretty much already knew about.
yeah,
And I don't know, I wasn't that impressed. I think next year's going to be really, really good. I think next year's is going to be awesome, but I don't know, can't be too hard on them because second year or first year of the console life cycle, it's going to be a bit watered down. But I don't know, I wasn't too impressed at all this
no.
year.
No, I agree. It was everything was like 2015, and it's like
Yeah.
some of this stuff. Like, I'll go into we're talking about it earlier. Was Uncharted 4. Again, we were expecting it, and it looked great, but it's like a 1 minute trailer, which means nothing really.
Was it even a minute long? Was it even a minute
Probably
long?
not. No, you're right. Yeah, exactly. It's probably even 30 seconds. And I'm like, that's one of my top games ever. Was Uncharted 2 actually, but
that kind of thing, the way it seems to me is that Uncharted is much like Halo it's one of their main first party exclusives on that platform, and they don't really have any kind of details as to what the game is about, and they're still sort of talking end of 2015 for it to come out, but they just wanted to show or even mention it just so that getting people excited, and they thought that it would create a better impression of their press conference. Did it really? Just because they've mentioned that a game that everyone knew is in development? Okay, what's that done? Like
they kind of had to mention it though, because the only thing is a lot of people were doubting it even coming out in 2015 because all the people leaving Naughty Dog over the last
it's still not guaranteed it's coming out then, is it though? But
true, very, very true. And I think we're past teasers now. They just don't excite people anymore. It's like I don't care about video game trailers. I don't really like as soon as another website puts on a video game trailer I'm not that excited about it. I want to see gameplay. I want to see what I'm actually going to be playing. But
that's it. Especially these days, it's we want to see how great these graphics are going to look. What's so amazing and next gen about what's happening, and having like a cutscene. Essentially, it's not really saying anything at all. It's like, especially since the gaming crowd these days are around our age, which is 30-year-old men, and we're not. We've seen, like I was saying about like the old Mortal Kombat or something.
Other people do play games though, you know that.
Other people do. Apart from us three.
Yeah. Other types of people do, yeah.
They do, yeah, but we're like the target audience. But we've kind of grown up with having these stupid announcements, and then you get the game, and it's just like up, down, left, right. But we're kind of beyond that now, like where gameplay is kind of not that important because it's exactly. And now gameplay is something that people want. Everything's in engine, and yeah, I agree. I concur. I coconut.
I three-way that.
I would three-way that. So another one, Sony's big announcements, as The Order 1886, I think it is. What did you guys think? Did you see because there was a bit of gameplay in that and a lot of in-engine stuff. What did you guys think?
Personally think it looked awesome. I think it looks really, really good. I'm looking forward to that. And it's out February, so it's not too far away. You can kind of forgive that, but that looks really, really, that looks awesome. Only thing I didn't like about it is it kept on taking you out of the game to do stuff. It's kind of weird. It's like you're moving down a hallway. Are you actually moving, or is it a cutscene?
Yeah,
it's all seamless, but do you know if you're actually doing anything?
Well, they showed there was that part of it that was in the press conference, and then later they showed a load of gameplay. The gameplay looked very similar to Gears of War. I think that kind of style, third-person, kind of gritty cover shooter, I think looked really good. And then the main part of the sort of presentation was showing someone walking down a kind of dark room, encountering some kind of weird werewolf type thing. You weren't sure how much of that was quick time events or just cutscenes. Yeah, who knows? But I wouldn't imagine that's the main part of the game. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it looks good enough for me to buy a PS4 for it though.
I think
Yet.
it does. I think it. I
Like,
think.
what, just for that game?
I think it shows the promise. You know, it's like you got to think when the Xbox 360 came out, first year or two, the games looked great, but think about PS3 games then and now. Uncharted 1 to Last of Us, the difference in, you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
it just shows promise. You know, it shows you
Yeah.
what could be, and it's kind of a good. If you're into cover shooters, it's a good one to get. You know, I think it's the sort of thing that I would buy the PS4 for myself.
Yeah. I mean, I like the setting, the whole steampunk Victorian kind of thing, and they're saying that the science behind stuff like the guns and whatever is,
Yeah.
in theory, like based in some reality. But
Right.
you know, I quite like the idea. It reminds me a little bit of Penny Dreadful. I don't know if anyone's been watching that.
No.
No, I probably wouldn't watch it if I was you. I watched the first.
I can't recommend it.
I cannot recommend this, but I watched the first couple of episodes. And I was like, you know, I gave it a go, but I didn't like the show. But I thought it's quite cool. I mean, apparently it's based on you know, all the werewolves and vampires and stuff of that era, and I thought that's quite a cool setting. And so, you know, I think having a third-person shooter in something like that is something that could be, you know, really good.
I think the plot would be a lot more interesting if they keep it a bit more varied and it's a bit more kind of about fighting, you know, kind of vague supernatural stuff rather than, you know, specifically werewolves and zombies. Because if it is just those two groups, then it's just going to be really boring. You know, I mean, maybe it's just me, but I was more than bored with werewolves and zombies before all the Twilight films and all that nonsense. So I mean, I don't know how interested people could be in just that. If it was a bit more varied and interesting, then yeah, I think
I think I'm probably saying that wrong, but like the whole, you know, like Jack the Ripper, I don't know, just that whole, you know, Frankenstein, stuff like that, just all that kind of London stuff, and just, you know, kind of mashing it up a little bit and making this over the top shooter about it could be quite fun.
I don't know, I've got a really weird feeling. I do like the game and I do really want to get it, but I've got a feeling they're going to jump shark with the story for some reason. They're going to time travel it or something. I'm just praying they don't do any of that stuff. They just keep it to London and, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know much of the story, if there is one. But, you know, fingers crossed there will be something to kind of keep me going, so it's not just, you know, watching one target duck out and then move on to the next. Be something actually with a bit of juice to it. Sounds horrible. Don't say that.
A moist game.
Did you say a monster bait?
I said a moist game.
Oh, a moist game. I thought you said a monster bait. It's a type of masturbating called a monster bait.
Cut.
So what else was going on at Sony's conference? What else did you guys see that you liked?
No Man's Sky.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Well, let's go into that. So for anyone that doesn't know, briefly sum up No Man's Sky.
It's a game that you will hate. Because of our aforementioned discussions about, you know, rules and boundaries. But yeah, it's really hard.
You've made that sound really weird, by the way. Like, don't touch my leg.
Kind of a
Kisses on the cheek,
sci-fi
slowly.
exploration game. You have a spaceship, you go around, you discover new planets, every single one of them different. There's a chance that you'll be the first person playing the game to discover it, in which case your name gets flashed up to other people saying, you know, discovered by Ben or whatever.
That's guaranteed, though. That's actually guaranteed. Every time when you spawn in the game initially, you're the first person ever on that planet.
Oh wow, okay, so at least one.
Yeah.
At least one planet. Yeah, it just looks great, and there's also elements of trading and, you know, battle and space battle and all that kind of stuff involved. But, you know, you can pretty much go and do what you want. I mean, I think you were kind of worried, Sam, that, you know, there's no kind of set direction that you have to go and take. There is no kind of end-to-end mission. Go here, kill this person. Go here, you know,
Man, I was
play with
scared.
this monster, whatever. You just didn't know where to turn.
I was so worried. I had to go to the doctor.
Anxiety.
Yeah, exactly. It's too troubling.
I just don't know what to do.
Yeah. He assured
But,
me there is a game in there somewhere.
It looks amazingly impressive, and especially given that it's developed by, I mean, I've heard different accounts, but either 4 or 10 people in Guildford, which is...
It's 10 people are part of the company, but apparently it's only 4 people working on the game.
Oh, cool. So it's just even
Yeah.
more impressive. It looks amazing. It's really like, one of those games where it wouldn't have come from a big studio. It just looks really kind of original and unique. So can't wait to get hands on that. But that's something that'll be worth buying a PS4 for, I
Definitely.
would say.
Because it's Sony only then.
It's a timed exclusive, or whatever that
Yeah.
means. So it's
Okay.
definitely going to come out on PC, and he hasn't or won't comment on whether it's going to come out on 360 or on Xbox One. Sorry.
The other thing I thought was really interesting about it is they were asked, how do you create all of these individual, like, all the planets are different basically, so how do you create all these different planets for everybody? So say, like, I don't know, if the game sells millions and millions and millions, you're going to have different planets for everybody. So they were asked, how do you do this? So they've got robots that basically, an algorithm's running that will create all these new planets for them.
Like
And then
Schwarzenegger, Terminators. Oh.
Exactly, yeah. yeah, they've got
Just
all
sit
these.
there at a desk.
So
I
they've got
need
these.
a drink.
I need your clothes, your boots, your motorcycle.
Can I
So-
please take a break now? No, you've got another 1,000
Planet to create. So they create all these.
You are a
planets.
shit. I hate working here.
So what they'll do is they'll.
Where is Arnold Schwarzenegger from in this reality? It sounds like he's from India or somewhere.
He's from Eden Prime, planet from No Man's Sky. But but they create every single planet, and then they were asked, so how do you know that there's not going to be a tree in the middle of the ocean, in the middle of the water? They've created robots, an algorithm that then check each and every created
I
planet.
think we're entering a
And
loop, aren't we?
then they do. Then it exports a GIF that they can then check each planet that's created. So I don't know how this is going to work. Like, I don't know. To me, it's like it's a really admirable thing, but I don't know how the game's actually going to work.
I think we have to accept that these guys are probably significantly more intelligent than the rest of us, and and that they know what they're doing.
Apparently they're creating robots.
that create other robots.
I think we've definitely learned what Sam's safety word is, and that's robots.
I'm imagining like a room. It's like the four humans. Then there's like Johnny Five, Terminator, RoboCop, Wall-E, or something.
RoboCop is a cyborg.
Yeah, I know, but he's robotish, you know.
Yeah, cyborg.
Get him into a room.
Your
Cyborg.
turn to get lunch.
Oh.
Yeah.
I got it yesterday.
Well, anyway, I don't.
Anyway, I'm not
Work
interested in that.
Christmas
Sam.
But I'm
But I was
impressed with
gonna
the game. Thing is that I'm impressed with the game, but is there a story? It's like we're told all this stuff about it.
I think there've been interviews with the guy, the sort of lead developer or the owner of the studio, and he was sort of saying he's not going to kind of reveal all that at the moment. But I think it's not going to be. It's going to be more like a kind of game like Myst, where the story is kind of inferred from clues you find around the the universe, rather than your kind of missions being given to you and saying we need you to save the galaxy on your own, that kind of thing. I don't think it's going to be like that at all. I think it's going to be a very kind of kind of isolation experience where you're on your own. You're occasionally going to run into other players, but not very often, and it's going to be about what you want to do in that game world.
I just can't see myself. I see probably enjoying it for like an hour or two. And nothing else. Like what else? Like even if there is, say there's like this hinted story, and I've got to go to this planet, whatever, and you've got to find this animal. Oh right, great. Yeah, I found this animal. Okay, you have to kill it. Okay. Right, well done. And then you have to trade with this guy. Okay, right. Yeah, I guess that's cool, I suppose. Right, and then I found a tree. By the way, do you see this tree? Yeah, found that. Tag my name on it.
If it was
Right, cool.
Sam, if it was an open world zombie game, would your opinion be any different?
Yeah. In fact, there is an open world zombie game. Like if you look at something like State of Decay, that is an open world zombie game to a degree ish. Not really, actually. I know what you mean. Like DayZ. I haven't played that actually, but yeah. I mean something like that. Yeah, it's good fun and stuff. And there's a general motive to survive. Like that's what you got to do. You've got to kind of get from wherever to wherever and survive. Is that the same with this? Like, am I one person? Do I interact with people, or do I interact with NPCs, or?
Well, it's going to be both, isn't it? It's going to be both.
Yeah.
They said they're going to try and keep you away from other players as much as possible, but you are going to encounter them. You are going to be able to battle them if a deal goes south. And yeah, obviously there's going to be NPCs to trade with, other players to trade with, all that kind of stuff.
I think the motivations in this game are less linear than in DayZ, where DayZ is about survival. This is more you can be what you want to be in a weird sense. It's like you create the
exploration sense of it as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my jury's still out on that. I'll say that.
Your jury.
My personal jury, which is my couples, they're still out.
I want to live my dream in that game of being like an intergalactic drug dealer. I tried to do it in Morrowind back in the day, but never really worked out.
Why? Did you settle down instead?
Every time he logs in, he's still serving his prison sentence.
No, it's a weird situation.
Got another 3 years before I can play this game again. I got caught.
I had so much skooma that I created in that game, which was the drug in the game, that I became over encumbered and couldn't move. So
you gotta get high off your own supply.
Yeah, so when that happened, I was like, I don't want to leave all of this. I could get some good money for it, so I just stopped playing the game.
Brilliant. I love it. When you say
that's largely a situation brought upon by yourself.
Yeah, completely.
Okay.
What I love is when you say you couldn't move, it sounds like, to anyone that doesn't know, that like you took loads of it and this is like a side effect of this drug. Like I could do stuff and I couldn't move, rather than you were at capacity for your inventory, which doesn't allow you to move. It's like, I just had loads of it and then I just couldn't move. In the game, just imagining side effects in this drug.
Monged out.
Yeah.
Another game at Sony was Destiny that they showed, and I'm all over that.
Oh, me too.
Okay, well let's
Sam, you've played the alpha, haven't you? And you're not so keen.
Right. Let me sum up. Let me talk you through a little bit about the alpha. Right. So first off, you choose your class and whatever. It's a classic kind of MMO like Magic Warrior or like a kind of combination or whatever. And then you go. The game itself is very Halo. With the shields and the way it, the guns, just the way it looks and feels is all very much Bungie. And when I started playing it, okay, firstly I should say that I had internet problems because there was maintenance being done on my road, and every time I got kicked off my Wi-Fi, it kicks you out of the game completely. Not like, oh, it's a pause or you keep going, oh, there's no one I play, you're out. So I was like, there was times when I was like fighting like some boss thing, and all of a sudden you bang, I'm out. And it's like, all right, and you go back in, and then you have to do the whole thing again, basically. And I was like, okay, firstly, that's really annoying, but that's a problem which is my fault, so I can't, it's not their fault really, but okay, fine. Secondly, it's very MMO, and it's like there's this thing where like there's 3 different areas you kind of get. One of which is more like a story kind of mission. You go in and you just kill a boss basically, and that was fine. It wasn't that great. It just felt like a Halo thing. The graphics were pretty normal. It didn't feel like anything different or cool or new or anything like that. So the second kind of area was an exploration thing, which is kind of what it's going to be more like. And there was a few people in the game playing with me, and that's quite cool. But they send down these little missions, which are like these little things that are just randomly anywhere, and you pick it up and it's like, oh, okay, you need to go here, and you're like, right, okay, and you go there and you press a button and it's like, okay, mission accomplished, and it's like, right, fine. And then it was just really boring. And there was one point where oh, hello, there was one point There was one point where I had to get over this bit, and there was some like bossy kind of guy, and I was fighting him, but every time I kept dying because I didn't have anyone to fight with me, um, and I ran out of ammo, and then are you still there, Ben?
I'm still here.
Okay, I think Bubba's gone for a sec. Then I had to keep killing him. And I'd just get respawned, and I'd have to keep trying to find ammo and keep trying. And then the original enemies that I'd killed in that area all respawned. And I had to do the whole thing again. And I was like, this is ridiculous. But I know it's still at alpha stage. But what I'm trying to get to is that there was nothing in the game which made me think, wow, this is amazing.
I think what you're describing there, I think it's the kind of, I can't remember whether it was a raid or a strike, but there are two types of kind of co-op action. So there's, from what I've seen, there's kind of like a normal one where you go around and you do a co-op mission, and then there's this kind of live event thing where you go on patrols, which is like more or less the open area of Destiny. You choose an area you're patrolling around, you'll encounter some enemies. Then you'll kind of you'll run through a like a live event. The game will tell you, please go and do, if you want to go and do this mission, go and do that. And they tend to be quite hard, and one of the ones I saw on the net was wave based, so you were facing the same enemies that were respawning but in different waves, and then you had a final boss. But they are designed to be hard because you have to kind of work together in order to get through them. If you have other players that are dropping out on you, then it's not going to be that great experience. But hey, yeah, and especially if it's alpha as well, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's the main problem, is that there just weren't enough people in the game to play it with me as such, and that's probably a big part of it. But
yeah, if you've got your friend in when it's actually released, if you've got your friends or or people on your friends list, then to play with, then that'd be a better experience, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So is it just Borderlands then?
Kind of. It's kind of a bit Borderlands, yeah. But obviously Halo. But
Bungie
I don't
Lands.
Yeah, Bungie Lands, exactly. It's I don't really like MMOs that much. Anyway, and I don't know, I was just playing it going, the whole thing about the openness is that, and what I was saying is that, like, there's bits in Halo where there's like a big, I'm talking about like the campaign part, there's like big maps, big open plan areas, and you're just like, oh, I can't be bothered to keep killing these, groups of enemies in these big places and just working my way through when I just need to get to like that cave or something over there. So I just sprint and try and make it to the cave because I can't be bothered doing all that. That is basically what Destiny feels like.
But I think elements of that, Sam, are the kind of almost grind elements of the game. So they're there for loot and stats and experience rather than playing the story. So if you want a more structured approach to things, then play through the main campaign, either single or co-op, and actually have a goal to it. Whereas people that are in it to have the whole experience are going to play it PvP, but also going to go on these co-op raids and that kind of thing, so they can get better equipment, better experience, more money, that kind of thing, and get more out of the game that way. And that's pretty much what they're trying, is to kind of cover all those bases in one game.
Okay, well, look, I mean, to kind of sum up, to me, it's not that it looks bad or anything like that. I was just quite bored playing it and annoyed. So
but you've got all that XP, mate. It's all about XP. Don't you love collecting XP?
I don't. So, yeah, but when it's an alpha game,
yeah, it's going to be wiped.
Exactly. Where it's like it's not going to make any difference really whatsoever.
But I think you know what? I reckon when you
maybe it'll change your attitude.
I think when you're playing with mates, you're going to love it. I think you need XP for attitude readjustment.
I need an
appreciation XP.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm absolutely all over that when it comes out. I can't wait.
Me too.
But yeah, hey, what else was on the Sony press conference?
Well, there was. I'll kind of briefly touch upon it. Is PlayStation TV. Why that reaction?
I just don't care. It's like, I've got Netflix, I have normal TV, I don't need PlayStation TV. I really don't care about all this. It's like they're just lumping the same old shit in 5 different places. I don't. It's just stupid. I just find the whole.
You can play Vita games on
Oh
it.
no, I think there's two things. Didn't they have they had an announcement that they were creating and releasing new kind of Sony
It's not the broadcasting stuff. This is the actual,
which is what I think Baba's giving the big bov to.
Right.
But I think what Sam's talking about is PlayStation TV, the hardware
Box.
unit, which is like a little tiny little kind of cigarette packet sized box that you plug into another TV, and you can play Vita games on, or you can play PS4 games, I think, with a DualShock 4 controller from your PS4 in another room onto a different TV. So if you live somewhere where you haven't got sufficient control over your main television, then you can adjourn to the safety of a bedroom or whatever.
And potentially it will have PlayStation Now, which is the streaming thing that they'll do with the back catalogue of everything.
I thought you meant it was the PlayStation service for like watching TV stuff.
No. But I think that PlayStation TV thing looks pretty cool. If you've got a Vita and a PS4, that'd be great, and especially if you get PS Now. But PS Now again looks great. What's the latency going to be like, and when the hell is it going to be out in Europe? Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows?
So guys, are either of you Dark Souls fans?
No.
No. Next.
Okay, have you ever? Are you fans as in you've played it and you don't like it, or?
As in, I'm not a masochist, so I'm not going to play the game.
Yeah, I think there's obviously a recent a bit of a hipster trend to like ridiculously hard games that you just can't get anywhere. That are kind of, that's what computer games used to be like when I was young, and you were lucky if you ever finished a game. But now I kind of enjoy the fact that you can get to the end of games and see what the story is.
I just love
kind of like that, and I don't fancy repeating the same part of a level 20 or 30 times because I'm not quite good enough. I'm probably not good enough, but I don't want to have to do it so many times.
Yeah. I mean, I've played Dark Souls, and I was a couple of hours in, and I've not got back to it for that reason. Is that I was like, I can't basically, and it's been quite it's a bit of a shame really, because I've obviously heard for that reason as well, is that it's so difficult that you can only get so far, and that's why I've stopped playing it. But the couple of hours when I played it before, where I didn't really hear that much about it, I actually quite enjoyed, and I didn't, and I died and came back and retrieved my soul and got to the next bit. It wasn't like a big thing. It wasn't a big deal. And I think it's put a few people off, that maybe, but I wasn't playing it thinking this is really difficult or anything like that. I was playing it thinking it's not that great graphics-wise, to be honest. It's the main thing. I was like, this isn't really... But I don't know, but the reason why I bring it up is that Bloodborne was one of the games that was announced by the makers of Dark Souls, From Software, I think it is. And just wondered if you guys had seen it or if you were interested in it, because a lot of people see it as almost a sequel to Dark Souls 2, but in a different vein, different franchise.
I heard it's going to be a lot simpler, a lot less involved than Dark Souls was, so that kind of made me feel a little bit more like, I might check it out, but I'm just not interested in like dungeon games anymore. Yeah. I'm bored of them now. It's like Above Ground is pretty cool these days, so I don't need to be in the dungeon anymore. Dungeon crawlers I just find them so tedious. It's like,
yeah, no, I feel that. Okay, well we're about half an hour through now, by the way, guys. So I'm gonna move on to Microsoft. Is there anything else Sony-wise you want to touch upon?
No Last Guardian. It's disappointing.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to see that anytime soon, to be honest.
I saw some people saying they suspect it might be at the whatever the next one is, the Tokyo Game Show or whatever. But that'd be great if that's the case.
I mean, someone will probably know more about this than I will, but surely if you've spent so long dedicating a game to what is essentially the last gen, I mean, it could come out on PS3, Xbox One, whatever, and not next gen consoles. But if you've spent so much time on a one console, and now people might be expecting it on the next gen consoles. Is that a major overhaul? Is that
I
a
think.
massive problem?
Well, I mean, didn't the lead designer leave and then did he even come back? I don't know. I'm really
He
confused.
came
about what
back.
happened.
I
But
think
then,
what happened is he left, and then he came back on a freelance basis.
oh, okay.
to
But
Vive.
then I think at some point there, there was a big change, and there were noises coming out saying that they might repurpose it for PS4. But I mean, I don't think it's really. I don't think that's really an obstacle to it. I mean, it wasn't Shadow of the Colossus was released well after everybody thought the PS2 was
Yeah.
dead and buried. So, well, long after I did anyway. So yeah, I wouldn't think that'd be a problem, but I'd be surprised if it did come out only for PS3. I think they'd be missing out on something if they didn't kind of apply themselves to put it onto PS4 now after it's been in development for so long.
And I reckon they've spent a ton of money on it as well already, like just the PS3 version.
And
And
it can't be that difficult, especially if the two biggest announcements of Sony's press conference was the fact that they're re-releasing Last of Us and GTA. Less than a year after, or around a year after. It can't be that much of a job to just take a game that was designed for a previous generation and improve the textures and things like that.
Funny thing you mentioned that. I feel like I've got like battered wife syndrome, like in terms of games. Like,
Why's that?
Please elaborate.
Because Last of Us, one of my favorite games ever. I was telling you that I don't want to play it again because I don't think I can put myself through how, like, it was just too tense, and it was just it took a lot out of me playing it. I'm still going to buy it for the PS4. I have no idea why, but I'm still going to buy it for I'm just curious.
I tell you what, I would have, had it not been that I was already halfway through doing it on the highest difficulty setting on the PS3.
I don't get that. I really don't get it, especially since when PlayStation Now comes out, it might still be 6 months yet before it's in Europe, but it will be available. It'll be available then to play on your PS4 if you've unplugged the PS3. And if a single player game that's quite a slog like that, why do you need to play it again so soon? I mean,
I don't know.
I really enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it, but I just want to own it and be able to I know. And GTA 5, I'm doing the same thing. I played through that, finished it. I'm buying GTA 5 again.
I loved it, absolutely loved that game, but I'm not buying it again just for improved graphics.
Online for me, it's like playing online.
Get it.
I know.
I understand GTA 5 more. I mean, the reason why I won't be doing GTA 5 again is because, one, I didn't really do the online that much. I should be really doing it more because I did like it, but I just haven't. And it's just I spent so much time in the first player campaign stuff, like unlocking quite a lot of stuff, that I do not want to go back and do all that again.
You can port it over. You can port it all over.
I thought you could just port your online thing.
I think it's just your online character and stats that way.
Because
but anyway,
if it's just your online, then whatever. But the thing with Last of Us is that I probably would get it. It's like my girlfriend's always banging on about this, but I enjoy watching films that I like again and again, and I like going back into that world and experiencing it. Yeah, and so with like The Last of Us,
that's a 25-hour film or however long it is.
Yeah, and each moment
keep on watching it again. Each moment is not a gift. There are moments. There are obviously amazing moments in the game, but a large percentage of it is just kind of crouching behind walls, waiting for zombies to pass you by so you can run away.
Correction, they're not zombies.
Fucking hell! Each moment of that is definitely not a gift. It's just a chore. It's a ridiculous chore.
It's a ball ache.
Yeah, exactly.
On the difficulty setting I'm doing now, it's like it was bad enough first time round. Like the bits where one bit that you've done, Ben, as well. When you're in the power goes out and you have to go down into the basement and get the generator started. Doing that. Or the high difficulty setting is like...
I can't even remember that.
Oh man, I almost pooed my pants.
I did it without that sound thing. I did that all without that.
I love
that.
I
didn't even know where they were. So I didn't know that sound thing existed. So I didn't know where anything was.
Sam.
And you know what? And like, that part of the game, I still have cold sweats about it. When I think about playing it again, I'm just like, you know what? It's a wonderful game, but that part,
Yeah, that part was
I
mad.
don't think I want to play that again. I don't want to play that bit again.
No, I
Like,
mean, I should say for anyone listening that the Bubba was saying that he did the whole game on normal difficulty and all this stuff, but he didn't realise that you could do the listening method where you can see through the rules and see where they are, and thought that people I saw it online. I thought people were cheating. It found a cheat to do it rather than it actually being part.
No,
part of the
I'm gonna
gameplay.
get through this game. I'm gonna get through this game the proper way.
but do you know the whole thing though? It's
Literally
like
keep it
they sold the game as like this like high fidelity sort of. I know it's not real life, but it's like it's meant to be extremely real. So I just thought that would kind of take away from the realism. So I didn't think it was a thing. I didn't think that would be a thing that they would ever put in a game like this. And I was like, what the hell? What is
Yeah.
that shadow effect in this guy's playthrough?
It's weird because a lot of people's had a problem with it in the sense that, and I talked about this in my review, which the people can look at on the site, which is that it's really that is the only real gaming. I mean, obviously it's all a game, but like that makes it feel like a game. It makes
Yeah,
it feel like
there's-
super human in a way.
There's at least one other thing that makes it feel like a game, which is which is the fact that a perfectly good iron pipe disintegrates after 3 skull cracks.
See,
Because
I
that's
want-
nonsense.
I want you to
I
go
haven't
out.
I haven't done research on this, but I'm willing to bet that if I took an iron pipe to the streets, streets of Surrey, that it would last more than 3 3 zombies worth.
Can't knock it
yeah.
till you tried it.
Yeah,
I'm
that
back.
makes it feel like a game.
I'd love to see it the next morning. Hey guys, it worked.
Being led away in handcuffs. Definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
That's incorrect.
Yeah.
I've proved it.
It's not real life.
Right, sorry, where were we?
Microsoft.
Oh, yes, it's got Microsoft. Yeah. So, Sunset Overdrive. What do you guys
Next.
think? Your Xbox owners.
Yeah, I think it looks entertaining enough. It's not going to be something I'm going to jizz over.
What, Jet Set Overdrive?
Sunset Overdrive. Yeah, just it looks fun. But hey, it's okay. I don't know if I'm going to play it loads, but
Okay, so what did you look at that made you get a bit wet down there?
I would definitely play the Master Chief Collection because I think that's a good idea. Or good value for money anyway. The four Halo games all together. I'm not so keen on Halo 4. I thought it was a little bit weak. But 1, 2, and 3 together back to back. Obviously, you're missing Reach, which is the best of the lot. But yeah, that's pretty cool, and the fact that they've built in all of the original multiplayers in engine for all in their original engine. Sorry, I should say. That's fantastic. I think that's really good.
I heard people criticizing that,
What is
and
that?
it kind of irritated me a little bit. It's like they were saying it's funny how it's 2014 and we want to play a game exactly how it was. It's 10 years old, and it's like, well, it was good. So why not? They're like, oh, it just seems like things that are old. We shouldn't like appreciate them for exactly. Things should be bigger and newer, and they should improve on what Halo 2, because Halo 2 wasn't perfect.
I see that. I see that in the release of new games and things like that. I'm not obviously I'm not a fan of re-releasing games on new consoles just to sort of cash in a year later. But I mean,
Yeah.
Halo 1 or I suppose there was a re-release of Halo 1 a couple of years ago, but there hasn't been anything like this. But Halo 2 hasn't been re-released at all. Halo 3 hasn't been re-released. You're going to get better looking versions of these games. They're all going to be in one place. You're going to be able to play the missions as you choose, and you're going to be able to do single player co-op through all of them, including Halo 1, which you weren't able to do unless someone was on the couch next to you. So you're going to be able to do that over Xbox Live. I think that's great. I mean, it is much like they did kind of with the Uncharted and with all the kind of rehashes in Sony's press conference. It is a stopgap solution while they still work on Halo 5, but I think it's relatively a good one. But
I think it's a great one. I'm definitely going to get it. That's the battered wife of me inside coming out again to purchase all 4, which I have beaten previously.
So what else did Microsoft have? They showed what was it? Call of Duty. I'm not really overly bothered by that. I mean,
No,
I
me
think.
neither.
I'll play it, but it's
Oh,
a game.
really?
It's a game that I'll rent. 100%. It's a game I'll rent. I'll play through the single player. I won't even touch multiplayer. But it does look a little bit like they've been looking at Titanfall, kind of licking their lips, and that they want that
Yeah.
they
You've got
want
to
some of
think.
those ideas, and
I
maybe
think
there's
they've
some.
been 3 years ago. They've been making this, so I don't think they would have known what the Titanfall guys would have been doing.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's some kind of pollination between the guys that left, and they were talking about
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's kind of similar. There's definitely some
Yeah.
ideas that are similar.
Well, I mean, I've read up on it a fair bit. I've played all the Call of Duties. I do the multiplayer and all this stuff, and it's kind of like a guilty pleasure as such. And it's the more I read about it, yeah, I mean, the more Titanfall it gets, especially like in the multiplayer way. But the idea that you're in this like biomechanical suit and you can jump really high, and they're saying, it's just as much vertical as it is horizontal now. It's like, yeah, like,
It's the same thing.
That is
Titanfall.
exactly Titanfall.
Yeah.
But I mean, the reason I play Call of Duty is I couldn't give a toss about the multiplayer really, because I just don't. I think you get a lot of campers on Call of Duty Online. I don't seem to enjoy it as much when I've tried it.
Yeah.
But you saying it's a guilty pleasure, I think is spot on. I think it is it as a franchise. It's completely bonkers. It's completely stupid because some of the most ridiculous things happen. All these buildings getting destroyed, and nuclear war all over the place, and you're never sure who you are. You flip around from about 6 different characters, all with the kind of most generic, boring names ever, and you're supposed to work out what the hell the plot is. You've got no chance. You've absolutely got no chance. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, with this
it's
one,
good fun. It's good fun. It's bonkers, isn't it? It's good.
yeah,
Are
I
you
mean,
gonna
they've really
spend-
tried.
Are you
Sorry,
going to spend £45 on an 8-hour guilty pleasure though?
No, I'll rent it. That'll be it.
Yeah. That's yeah.
I probably would. I wouldn't. I don't think I've paid £45 for a game for God knows how long. But yeah, I will probably get it in some way, shape, or form as part of the deal.
But I'll probably do the same thing with Battlefield. I know that's Battlefield Hardline or whatever it's called.
Oh, man. Okay, hold on.
I think,
So
I think,
I wanna
that, I
talk
think that
about-
is good.
I wanna talk about
do you want
Hardline.
to come on to that later then?
I'll come to that in a sec. But what I was going to say about Call of Duty is that just reading about it, they're very much aware of how Call of Duty is viewed in the public and also the gaming public. So, for instance, it's going to be about one soldier. You're not going to play loads of different people. They're thinking about how the stories are told in the previous Call of Duties and how they can kind of change that and make that make it more accessible, and things like they've started again with like stuff like the sounds. Instead of it sounding like, I thought it was quite interesting, they're saying that instead of it when you're shooting a gun, it sounds like a gun being shot as it would do normally, but if you're actually shooting a gun, it sounds very different than the actual sound of a gun being shot. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
trying to kind of design, and apparently they've really kind of gone back to the basics and taken out the kind of Call of Duty map, as it were, and just said, well, look, where can we improve each bit? And I know each kind of game kind of says that about how they've built upon the last one, but this feels like the first time since Modern Warfare that actually kind of gone, that we know this is already successful, but let's take this back to its let's take it back to the scratching board almost and build it back up
I think
again.
that's a good point, because I think that with games that do get annual releases, I think that is kind of one of the biggest problems. Like FIFA, how much are you really changing the game year on year? I'm sure there are really subtle kind of gameplay differences that people that play it all the time will notice, but
The shirts wiggle now.
not what's that much different, like not much. And that's kind of one of my biggest kind of bugbears with another big announcement at the Microsoft conference, which is Assassin's Creed. I think that not much changes year on year in Assassin's Creed, and if anything, I think apart from the naval combat, I think generally everything gets worse. They've almost completely removed stealth from the game. Combat is now so unenjoyable and pointless that it's just you don't know why you're playing. And then the missions are just the quality control department needs to be canned. Basically, it's just so buggy and non-consistent that it just doesn't make sense. This game.
I mean, do you remember in Black Flag?
But there's a new one, yeah.
In Black Flag, you could rate the missions, apparently they've really listened to that, and they're going to try and do more with it. I mean, the great thing, we were talking about this another time, Ben, but Bubba, I mean, what's your view on the fact that it's going to take place during the French Revolution?
I think that's a great time period to
I agree.
place it there. I personally think that's a really, really good one because
I respectfully disagree.
It's a really interesting time in history. I think it's a really, really good time to.
I'm sure it is, but it's also not what anyone that's been playing the games since the start has. There's been clues littered and teased about really interesting time settings like feudal Japan and Egypt and all these kind of places that would be genuinely interesting and completely different from everything they've done at the moment. They've done Europe to death. They've covered the whole of Italy. They've gone to America, and although it was in America, it was a very, very similar game dealing with how the assassins deal with social change, and I guess that's how they're all going to be. But it was very similar. Essentially they went to America at a time where America was full of English people or Europeans. So it wasn't very different. And going back to France again, there's going to be, obviously loads of French people again. They haven't really changed it very much. It's very similar, and I just find that very boring.
Okay, well, what about the co-op side of it? What do you guys think about the co-op?
It looks good, but it's not going to play like that at all.
Yeah.
It looks very impressive, but you're not going to have 3 people or 4 people together who are going to be perfectly in sync. And they made it look really good. But
I think you've got far more chance of it being a fun experience if it's co-op with your friends rather than numpties.
Coordinated.
So if you can be speaking to each other, saying, okay, when are we going to burst through this door? When we're going to show the knife to this fool, sort of thing, rather than if you're playing with strangers on the internet, then watch out. You don't know who they are. But the inevitable is going to happen is they're just going to rush to the next objective while you might be trying to do something a bit more interesting or look at the scenery or whatever. They're just going to run point A to point B and just stab the guy, and you'll be like, okay, well, what happens next? Because you'll have missed something or something.
Yeah.
It's just not going to be it. But then I think that's pretty much common sense, isn't it? Things are going to be more fun if you're playing with people you know and can trust and communicate with than some 12-year-old.
I mean, well, 2 games that are very co-op central that I'm really excited about, probably more so than Assassin's Creed. One being, we just touched it briefly there, was Battlefield Hardline, which is essentially, now, I don't think you did, Ben, but Papa, did you ever play Payday?
I played a little bit of it and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, now, I feel like I really liked Payday, but there was loads of little glitches and little teething things.
A ton of glitches.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So, which kind of really upset the experience, and to think that something like EA being behind, I know like EA's and Battlefield are now aren't to be relied upon really anymore, but I like the idea that doing this whole like heist kind of thing and having enough money behind it to kind of do it properly, which is what they're trying to do now. They can't release another I want to use the rude word. I don't want another messed about Battlefield. I don't think they'll let that happen again. So something like Hardline, I think, is something that's right up my street. And I think working together in that kind of scenario, it reminds me of as well. Did you guys play the Max Payne 3? Was it Max Payne 3 multiplayer? I think that had like the heist, the cops and robbers thing as well.
Was that Max Payne 3 or Kane and Lynch?
Kane and Lynch. Yeah, you're right. It was Kane and Lynch. When one of you was the mole, is that right?
Yeah.
That was really good, and I really enjoyed that aspect to it.
Hardline doesn't do it. Like I love, like when the trailer leaked and I watched that, I was extremely excited about it.
Yeah.
But then I saw gameplay footage of it and I was like, it's Battlefield with a new skin. When are you going to have 64 thieves? Like 32 thieves running around Los Angeles robbing the same bank and 32 policemen. It just seems like they've gotten it. It just seems like they've just rehashed Battlefield in a new setting and not thought about the actual game mechanics. And does it make sense to have these many
Will they definitely
people
have
as
that many? Do we know that? Because I
it's
thought
it's
it'd be a lot more slimmed down.
it's not. Apparently, the maps are huge. I've actually got an alpha code for it. I've actually got a beta code for it, and I haven't been able to use it because my PlayStation account got hacked. But like, I'm just not. I'm not sold by the fact that it looks like a mod. It looks like a really good mod of Battlefield 4. To me, it doesn't seem like it's a whole new game. Maybe the single player is going to be a selling point, but the multiplayer to me just seems like, I think in order to do something like that well, and I know we're probably talking about this later, but like Rainbow Six Siege, just 5-on-5 in a small closed encounter, it's close quarters sort of environment. I think that is what they should have maybe thought about, like go by the less is more motif for this game than it's like 64 player of Cops and Robbers is crazy.
Yeah, that's mad. I didn't
It
realise
doesn't make
that.
sense to me.
So with Rainbow Six, is that something that you're more excited about then?
I cannot wait. That for me is the game of E3.
So is it? Oh, really?
Wow.
Is there going to be a single player to that or not?
I think they're focusing mainly on multiplayer this time. I've read pretty much everything I can read about it, but it seems like heavily focusing on multiplayer and
Okay.
like trying to create interesting scenarios that don't seem monotonous. And it's like in certain football games, there's a certain patch where you can score a goal every time. They're trying to make sure that they don't have those sorts of things, but in that game where the balancing's out. But yeah, that for me is the game of E3. Like,
Yeah, I'm a bit. Yeah, it definitely does look good. I'll definitely play it. But I really did enjoy Rainbow Six Vegas and Rainbow Six Vegas 2. So, it's a little bit disappointing to see that to hear that they might have done away with single player campaign, because I mean that's kind of what I've spent most of my time gaming, doing single player stuff. And yeah, I really like Rainbow Six. So that's a bit of a shame.
Well, okay, look, I'm going to move on to one more game, just because we're coming up to an hour now.
Yeah.
And then we'll quickly touch upon Nintendo, and then just kind of summarize at the end. I just in terms of the co-op thing as well. Evolve. What did you guys think?
Amazing.
Yeah, looks fun. Looks fun.
Yeah.
I mean, that's up there with it. Might be. I think my game of E3 would probably be Metal Gear Solid 5, Phantom Pain, because I love Metal Gear so much. But Evolve almost got it for the simple fact that it looks quick, sharp, fun, like intense. And
Do you think that'd be more fun if all 5 people somehow were able to be in the same room together rather than online? I think that would be crazy fun if you could all do it somehow in the
The
same
only thing
location.
is, you don't want to know where the monster is. Like
Yeah,
if you've got your fifth
Oh yeah, no,
mate in the room.
if 4 people were in one room and one person was another, if you could
Yeah,
surprise
that would be a
them,
lot of fun.
that'd be perfect.
apart from the person by himself.
Yeah, no, but they're the monster. They're the monster.
That's just really fun, right?
Yeah, we're all laughing.
Right?
Yeah, it's just great.
Run
yeah.
away.
Yeah.
No, that'd be cool.
I think it looks really good. Evolve does look awesome.
So Nintendo, Bubba, do you want to kind of talk us through Nintendo? Seeing as you're the only
Oh, hang
person
on,
who's
you've
got a
missed out.
Wii U.
You've missed out on the Division.
Okay, we could touch upon that.
Sorry, I mean, don't need to go big into it. They showed more gameplay.
Fantastic.
I think it looks amazing.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for that. I think that's pretty much my most anticipated next gen game. I think.
Yeah.
Or this
When it
gen
comes
now.
out, when it comes out in 2017, I'll be really
Yeah, yeah. I'm all over it.
But yeah, Division looks awesome. Another Ubisoft game.
Yeah, taking over the
Yeah.
world.
Take the initial positive looks with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
Before they had feathers to collect.
Yeah, exactly. God, can't wait. For
Exactly. Oh, feathers. I've always collected feathers. Anyway, sorry, come.
So Nintendo.
Yeah.
Press conference was interesting. They went with another Nintendo Direct thing. They didn't actually do like a stage show. I think they used the Robot Chicken guys to do some animated thing for them, which I thought was pretty cool. But I wasn't overly impressed by the games that they had to show. Zelda, I knew was coming. I was really excited about that.
Yeah.
And it looks like they've gone in a new direction. It looks extremely like beautiful graphically. Story, like, not too clear about the story. Don't even know if the main character's Link.
Yeah.
It looks like an open world Zelda, you know, more Skyrim-esque than
Hmm.
point A to point B and dungeon crawling again. Um, but there's I don't know. Nintendo is simply just like, for me, they're losing the plot and they're losing like fans every day, because I thought this Nintendo Direct could have been a big game changer for me, like getting some new third parties involved, but they seem to be hard pressed about doing everything themselves. There's this Ink game that they had on display.
Is that the first
And
person? Is that the third-person shooter thing with like
yeah,
kids running around paintballs and stuff?
it just looks terrible. That looks like garbage. I don't think we should waste time talking about that.
Oh, I did see
Garbage.
that. Yeah, because you can travel through the paint and all this stuff, can't you?
Did you
Oh
just
yeah,
hear what you said?
you can only go in
travel through the paint.
You can only
Who
go
gives
and
a
paint
shit
as your color
about
or something.
traveling through the paint? That's anyway. There's this Yoshi game that's like Yoshi's Yarn. Looks like anyway. Then there's this other game with like Toad's got a game now. They're giving
Right.
Toad a game.
Okay.
Like-
He's always been like the little weird pervy, like Danny DeVito. The great.
Danny DeVito. That's
He's got his own game now. I think that looks like another piece of shit that Nintendo has just shut out somewhere. I'm just not interested in that. And then they've got the Zelda game that's going to be, what's it called? I've completely forgotten. It's Hyrule Warriors. They've got that coming out. That looks like shit as well.
Isn't that just Dynasty Warriors?
Yep.
Or something? Yeah.
Yeah, but then you've got loads of Zelda characters running around doing all the same stuff, so that looks crap. Then what else did Nintendo have in store for us? Oh, they didn't actually mention this in the conference, but they said they've got in the Direct, but they said they've got Star Fox coming, which I am interested in, and I would like to see that, but they didn't show any of that.
Wasn't there a video released where, or was it a proof of concept where they were he had two screens. He had the Wii remote kind of thing, filming, and then this separate thing going on the TV. Now, I mean, I've seen these kind of attempts at dual screen games. It just never works because you can only look at one thing at a time. I don't get. What's the point?
Yeah, the Nintendo just trying to do new shit without. They're like, okay, so we're gonna do new shit. Like, screw Oculus, screw Morpheus. They obviously have done that better than we can, so we're just going to create some new dual screen, amazing bollocks. Who gives a fuck? Like, it's just, I don't know. I'm just not interested. Nintendo they sunk this year for me. It was pretty shit.
That's interesting, because a few people I've read about, or whatever, said that Nintendo actually won E3 out of the three of them.
Oh, my God. Like,
Simply because of it brought out stuff that people hadn't, like the new Zelda game and all this stuff.
But you know a Zelda game is coming. You know what I mean? It's not surprising that Zelda's coming. It's like the new Zelda's coming out. It's like I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? There's a lot of announcing things that everybody knows is in development. It's been confirmed prior, and not, they're not showing you anything from it. So in the EA press conference, you had the announcement that Mass Effect 4 was in production. Everyone knew that, and then they announced that they had another, or BioWare had another a new IP in production, but they weren't giving any details and potentially gave away one screen, which didn't give away characters, setting, anything. Kind of just showed you a kind of shack in a mountain somewhere. So you don't know what that's about, and they've spent a couple of minutes showing you, people working at, design desks and all this kind of stuff, and in order just to tease these things, but there's no information. I mean, it's not even it's not even a tease. It's just nothing. Why?
It's a whisper.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What's the point? And it's all these games that are coming out in 2 years' time, and
if they even ever come out, you know what I mean?
Crackdown and Mirror's Edge, fantastic. But again, not really much in the way of detail. But I'm glad that Crackdown's there.
Me too, but I don't know. I'm not all that excited about Nintendo. I think Nintendo have dropped the ball myself.
Well, fair enough. So, guys, Bubby, you said what was your game of E3? Did you say
Rainbow Six Siege.
Rainbow Six? Ben, do you have a game of E3?
I'm going with No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky. I'd have to say, oh god, it's so boring. But yeah, Phantom Pain. I just love Metal Gear so much.
I really, it's a series I really want to like, but I hired Ground Zeroes last week or a couple of weeks back, and I did the first mission. It was pretty boring. Felt like hard work. The plot was there was a section where you could go in and read about the prior happenings in the world of Metal Gear Solid and the plot that led you into this point now. It sounded like the most confusing thing I've
The whole
ever
thing's
attempted to
convoluted.
read ever. I mean, it
Yeah.
might have helped if they'd included some diagrams so I could have understood it a bit better. It was all,
And
it was just all text.
It's
Oh.
renowned for being ridiculous, story-wise. It makes no sense. It's all completely a big jumble of characters and people and timelines and all this stuff. But
Yeah.
nonetheless, enjoyed it. But so, is there any other E3 things that people want to point out before we move on?
I don't know. No.
Inside, maybe?
Oh yeah, that was good.
By Zombies. By, is it? No, it's Play Dead.
That's it. Yeah, Play Dead.
That looks awesome. Limbo was great. Inside looks amazing as well.
I agree.
So
I really love that whole aesthetic. It looks great.
Danish people know how to do design. I have to
They
say,
do.
they
Did
really
anyone?
do.
Did you guys play? What was it? Not Year Zero. It was the iPad game. It was by, I think it was Swedish actually. I can't remember what it was called. If anyone was listening, they'd probably be kicking me in the face. It doesn't matter. Forget about it. I cut.
I've forgotten about that game that have no details at all. It's fine.
I have no details about the fact it was really good.
Oh yeah, 2 more games. The Witcher 3 looks unbelievable.
I'm not
And-
fast.
What?
It got. I've never played any of them. I've never played any of them. before.
two.
Yeah, but you don't need to have. I haven't played 1 or 2, but you don't need to have played 1 or 2 apparently.
I think number 3 did look
Elder
pretty
Scrolls.
good.
It's just Elder Scrolls, isn't it?
It's
What's
not
the
just
difference?
Elder Scrolls. It's Elder Scrolls that you can control properly, and
That reminds me. I've got to get back into Skyrim.
you don't feel like a robot. You know,
Well, you're robots.
you don't feel like you're moonwalking.
Don't set 'em off
everywhere
again.
in this game.
Moonwalking, I know.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Well, I don't know. It got IGN's game of E3 apparently. I
it
think
looks
that was.
amazing. Because
Well,
it's
okay.
hot, that's why it got IGN's game.
Hey, what about that Scalebound?
Pardon? What about those scale bounds?
Let me
Okay.
just say, right, I'm just going to put this out there, right?
Go on.
That wound me up a little bit because again, there's no gameplay footage, right? So you get the idea that you're this guy and you're fighting with and against these giant dragons, right? Okay, fine. Show me what it actually plays like, and then maybe I'll decide whether I'm interested or not. I can tell you how I'm already not interested by the fact of what this guy looks like, and it's he comes out, he looks like a generic, computer game character, the same as every other guy you've ever seen. So instantly bored of that already. But then he's got a pair of, just to sort of appeal to the kids, all the kids that are buying these computer games, he's got a set of headphones on. So he's fighting this dragon that is impossibly big, and yet he takes a couple of seconds out of his pre-fight ritual to plug in his iPhone or whatever and put some music on and put his headphones on, because that's going to make him fight the dragon even
Better.
harder.
Of
Right?
course.
It's just the most ridiculous, pretentious, wanky thing I've ever seen, and it kind of just wound me up just on sight as soon as I saw those headphones around that guy. If it hadn't have been for the headphones, I probably would have gone, yeah, it looks alright. The headphones have ruined it.
Yeah,
Nonsense.
I completely agree.
The thing
with
is,
you.
it's like it's the Japanese. There's a whole thing now where people are like trying to get away from the Japanese kind of, that kind of gaming thing that they do, which is all like ridiculously over the top and a bit
Yeah.
stupid. And it's just that again. It's like, dude, stop doing this.
It's just it's literally designed by committee, isn't it? It's basically someone like, okay, hey, we're gonna pick up our new protagonist for our game. What's he gonna be like? Oh right, what are kids like these days? Oh well, they've all got those Beats by Dre. They've all got Beats by Dre. All right, let's give him some Beats by Dre and just put these massive headphones on the guy. Ah, it's just awful.
Exactly. Instead of doing cool stuff, they do stuff which they think is cool, and it's like that doesn't necessarily make it cool.
It's cheesy as shit. He just
Yeah.
looked like Dante. Was it Dante? Was it?
Yeah, Dante. Devil
He
May
just
Cry.
looks like any kind of douchebag you'll see on the high street
Yeah.
anywhere. Just looks rubbish.
Fighting dragons.
Fighting dragons.
Yeah.
Sorry, and there's one more we've forgotten to mention entirely, which was Far Cry 4. I think it looked absolutely
Oh
great.
man, I love it.
Oh man.
I can't wait.
Oh, dragons. Yeah.
I'm just about to finish 3 actually, just right at the end of 3.
Man, I almost 100% 3.
Jeez.
That's how much I loved it. Yeah,
Animal.
and Blood Dragon, man. Blood Dragon was like my perfect thing. If you got Blood Dragon, Bubba.
Yeah, I played
No, I haven't got it.
amazing. It's really
You
good.
should get it, man. Even the
so-
soundtrack is
Oh, amazing.
80s bliss.
80s electronic, kind of dark music. It was great.
Yeah, I
It was
think
just
it's
so
by a
stupid.
band-
It was a really funny game, really fun, really short. It was perfect, wasn't it?
The fact that when it came out, I was like, if you even watch the trailer, which made it look like a cartoon from the 80s, that in it, like a VHS thing, that in itself is amazing. It's got Michael Biehn, or Bain, however you say it, who's like one of my favourite actors ever, just from being in The Terminator and Aliens. It's all like ridiculously super cool, weird 80s future stuff.
Yeah, neon
like-
lasers, all this kind of stuff.
Exactly, like Neon Tron kind of thing. It's got this amazing like, 80s soundtrack. And I was like, they've just made my perfect game.
Dragons
Yeah.
with lasers coming out of their mouths.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
fantastic.
Dead Rising's gone that route for their new DLC.
Apparently they're making a Dead Rising movie. Do you hear about this?
Oh my god.
Yeah. I
Why?
think- I know.
Oh, that's just what the world needs. More
Another zombie.
That's what I mean. I was like, what? But yeah, exactly. It's like it's
Just pointless.
that film. Yeah. Assassin's Creed, I kind of get. The fact that that's being done by Fassbender is amazing. But I reckon,
What a film!
Yeah. yeah, man, Assassin's Creed,
Fantastic.
Fassbender. But I reckon it's going to be a real flop. I think it's going to be a proper stain on his career because he's producing it as well. Like it's his company that produces it.
no.
Well,
Yeah.
if it's from the first, if it's from Assassin's Creed 1, 2, or Brotherhood, then it'll be good. If it's from 3, then it'll just be
Have you
atrocious.
played them all, Ben?
Yeah,
I haven't played Black Flag, which I've got is just waiting. It's on my list to play.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing I enjoyed. The single thing I enjoyed from 3 was the naval combat. So I've got high hopes for 4.
yeah. There's
You
a
know,
lot of that.
I haven't played any Assassin's Creed games for more than an hour without just being like, yeah, that was great, but
Oh man, I have
It's
literally
It's
completed.
a real shame. It's a real shame because they're 50% filler. If they kept it to the story and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, I think they'd be up there as my favorite games ever. They're just amazing. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
So anyway, that was we have to put it down now. That was E3, guys. I just want you to run me through what you're playing at the moment. Bubba, what are you playing at the moment?
FIFA all day, every day.
Wow.
Watch Dogs as well. I slip in some Watch Dogs, a little bit of Titanfall, and I'm gonna somehow finish Mass Effect 1.
Yeah, you
That's
should do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Mass Effect 2 was the best, I reckon.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, but it's a hard slog at the moment. It's just that riding that moon buggy just pisses me off. So
That's all optional.
Yeah.
Oh,
If you
it
can.
is?
Well, no, not all of it. Remember, there are bits in the actual
Oh, okay, yeah.
campaign you have to do it. But yeah, get through it. Just try and. I just remember by the end of it, I wasn't even stopping to shoot things. I was just going full at it, just trying to get through to the other
Yeah.
side. Because it reminded me a lot of those big bits in Halo. No, I go to that.
There
I'll
aren't
go
enough
back into that.
rules.
Yeah, exactly. If I can get from A to B really quickly, we will do. All right, Ben, what are you playing at the moment?
Playing a few things. I've really got to get in and start playing Titanfall. Well,
Yeah.
welcome to the party. 3 months late. I need to get on with that. I've started Super Time Force, which I think is great, but
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm quite getting the time mechanics. I think my brain works in that way. I seem to
What
be
have you got that
spazzing
on?
out on certain things. I've on Xbox One.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool, pretty retro, and it's kind of thing you can just pick up for a little bit of time and play. I've trying to get away from games that I find are a chore. So on that vein, I sent back Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes because I wasn't having fun with it. But I have picked up Ico, which I was previously finding a bit
Oh.
annoying. But
Please finish it.
I need to finish that because
It is
it's
wonderful.
very enjoyable. But I did have this point where I just kept on battling those you know, the spirit things that come out of the ground, and I just wasn't having a good time with it. But I'm made a resolve to finish that, and then I need to start BioShock Infinite. So yeah, some really old games I need to play.
Man, I don't even think I game that much, but God, Jesus, Ben, catch up.
Yeah, I was gonna say BioShock
But yeah,
Infinite.
mate, there's a few things on the list because I've still got Dishonored on the list, and next up on the rentals are Black Flag and Wolfenstein. So
Okay.
yeah, there's quite a few games coming up, but I haven't been playing the last month or so. I haven't had much time, so I need to get on it. I need to sort my life out.
It's quite funny you bring up Dishonored because I started playing that and I got about 5 hours in, maybe 6, and I stopped because I was like, I just can't be bothered with this game.
Same here, exactly
Oh,
the
really?
same thing with me.
Yeah, I was just like, man, this is. And then I only realised I'm about halfway through Wolfenstein at the moment, and it was only a few hours ago into it that I was like, this feels a lot like something else, and I was like, it's Bethesda, isn't it? Whatever you say it.
Yeah,
The guys that did Dishonored, Bethesda. So it's like I'm just doing Dishonored, but in Wolfenstein.
Apparently that is quite long. Apparently Wolfenstein is quite long as a
I mean,
game.
I'm halfway through only because the fact that I looked online. I was like, how many? Because I started doing some sewer chapters, and I was like, this is filler. This is pure filler. And I was like, how far am I through this? And
that's
and
what I
it's
felt in
quite
the
a long
hotel
way to do.
chapters in Last of Us. Filler.
Yeah, but I like, man. Okay, the hotel chapters in Last of Us. I really like. 'Cause you're negotiating how to do each bit, but with this,
I'm
it's like,
negotiating some content that someone has put in my way to slow me down between plot developments.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
look, I mean, I'm doing whatever. Stop. Leave Last of Us alone. Okay.
Leave it be.
Did nothing to you. But I'm playing Wolfenstein. Halfway through that, I'm pushing to get through it now because it's just bored. I'm not really having that good a time with it. And people are saying it's like amazing. It's like I think these are the same people that like Dishonored.
I really want it. I really want to get Wolfenstein. Like it's one of the games I'm planning to buy next month.
Yeah, I mean it's good, but where I am now, it feels like a chore. I feel like I'm having to slog through to get to like the next real story.
Every great game has that though. No matter how good a game is, even Ocarina of Time had moments when I was like, you know what, just get to fucking Hyrule, like just get to that fucking castle and get that shit done.
Exactly. That's kind of what I'm feeling like now.
Some games have that sooner than others. Some games have it.
True.
Yeah. And the other thing I'm playing is Titanfall. I've become a little bit of an not an expert. Don't want to say that, but
just get an Xbox One so we can all play.
All right.
Easy sell.
Done.
No,
Go on Amazon.
I'll go now.
Once this podcast is all said and done, I'm gonna. You have to get an Xbox One, like you know.
I'll look into it. I'm looking at it now, just thinking I'm gonna have to hide it. I have to hide it at the back where my girlfriend can't see.
Just hide the PS3, and then just say no, darling. You know.
That's a PS3.
PS3 is going into. I've got it. It's all too obvious. I don't know. I'll think of something.
Should be like
Titanfall,
X on the PS3.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I bought Child of Light, but I haven't started that yet.
Okay, that's supposed to, I've heard mixed reviews.
But it's also going to be on the Vita, so I think I might when I eventually can be bothered to buy a Vita, I will probably play on that because that sounds like a good game for the commute kind of thing. Because it's like when you sit down, what game are you going to play? You're going to play BioShock Infinite, or Titanfall, or you're going to play Child of Light. If you're on the sofa with the surround sound, you're probably going to play one of the BioShock or Titanfall rather than this small little indie game. Well, it's still Ubisoft, isn't it, I suppose, but in Ubisoft Arts or something. But yeah, if I've got it on Vita, then that'd be wicked.
Yeah.
Would it be wicked?
Wicked. some 90s lingo there.
Cool.
Cool.
I always gush about Vita, but yeah, I highly recommend. If anyone hasn't got a Vita, they should pick one up.
I've got a Vita, and I love it.
Yeah, I love it. It's brilliant.
I've just started Persona 4 Golden for commutes.
You're going to set him off. You said the code word.
Yeah, you said it. You said it now. That game occupied my life for about 6 months, and I'm talking like I was playing it going to work. I was playing
At the
it
dinner table.
coming back from work. I was playing it in bed, like before going to sleep. I was like, yeah, just a minute, get off me. I have to play this. Don't you know that blah 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 has like got a big dance tomorrow, and I need to like make sure that sort him out. But that was Persona 4. I mean,
what are you talking about?
Oh mate, because it's all about you being in high school
Yeah.
and like
Okay.
and like your relationships with your friends.
Sounds great.
Affect
Really selling it.
It's like that
No.
Danganronpa.
Go back to high school. No.
Mate. What's funny is that the best bits are the high school bits.
Yeah, it's true. Apparently, those are the best bits of the game.
They are. I really like when you're actually going to do like some dungeon stuff and you're doing the proper fights and using the stuff. That's great and everything. But you're like, come on, I want to kind of do this so that I can go hang out with my virtual mates some more. God, gee.
I only got it a week ago, and I'm addicted. So yeah.
I'm absolutely not going to play that if it's that dangerous.
I said
Well,
something.
Yeah.
I haven't got that much time.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's really worth it. But the only thing is that when I completed it, I heard that there's loads of different endings and all this stuff. And when I did it, it was a real like kind of melancholy ending. And
Did
the
you
credits
platinum
came
it?
up. Huh?
Did you platinum it? Like finish everything?
Oh right. What did you say? Clacton?
Platinum.
Platinum. This was Clacton it. I was like, Clacton is, but yes, sure, you can try.
It sounds like perhaps
Clacton.
buying a Football Manager game, just that much of your life.
Yeah, it's that sort of
I
thing.
mean, it's all story. It's not like Football Manager, which is essentially infinite. Whatever. But this is
67 season. Yeah, gotta get promoted.
exactly. But it did end, and there's all these different endings you can have. And I was just like, I'm kind of dumb. I can't go back. Like that's my story done. Like I can't go back into that world now and do all the extra
Have you been kicked out of high school?
No,
Yeah,
Don't tell me. Hey, wait.
I'm not going to tell you. But what I will say, no, I'm joking. What I will say is yes. No. No, it's good. It's well worth it. I think everyone who has Vita, if you have any RPG kind of experience or you like it even a little bit, if you've ever done a Final Fantasy and thought it was all right, you should do Persona 4 because it's very intricate and obsessive, addictive, I should say. So that's it from us. I want to say a big thank you for listening to the podcast today. Do go to our website www.thewildboarbore.com where you can find all your film and gaming needs. You can also follow us on Twitter @thewildboarbore UK, or you can email us at thewildboartv@gmail.com. Thanks guys, and see you next time.